The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Boise City Fire Department, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38139. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting first just under the front bumper, these are the open-ended tow hooks for firefighter operational use, 6,000-pound direct pull. Moving to the passenger side face of the front bumper, mechanical siren. Just inside that location you have dual air horns, and to the driver's side face of the front bumper you'll find your electronic siren PA speaker. Moving up onto the bumper extension on the officer side is where you'll find your front inlet. Just inside that location, the center is a storage location, Velcro tie down, and dry deck material inside. Let's move on to the cab face, where you'll find on the outer edge a marker turn indicator light. Just inside that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. High beam is located on the inside. Directly above that, emergency warning light forward facing. Just above the Pierce logo is where you'll find a grab handle. As we move to the outer edge of the A-pillar, it's where you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow is where you'll find your 5 identification clearance lights, and then up onto the roof of the apparatus is where you'll find your light bar. Located with inside the light bar in the center is your opticom. Let's take a look at some close-ups, first with the front inlet, and then we'll take a look at the storage location in the center of the bumper for hose storage. And then we'll take a full view of the apparatus on the driver's side, and we'll focus in on the cab section next on the driver's side. First, starting with your front axle, where you'll find a visual sight gauge into the center of the wheel, Alcoa wheel, Goodyear tire. To the rear, blue cap is the DEF fill location. Moving back up to the bumper extension is where you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light, part of the lower emergency warning lights. This is the marker indicator light I was previously referencing. Easily accessible with the gloved hand. These are the door lock and latch combination. They are keyed, and right next to those is the grab handle for gaining entry and exit into the cab for maintaining 3 points of contact. As we move directly over the front axle, you'll find your shoreline inlet, 20 amp auto eject, and as we move to the rear portion of the cab, you'll find part of the lower emergency warning lights, a side-facing emergency warning light. All the way to the top, these are your LED water tank level indicators. We'll move on to the midsection. We'll come back to that in just a few minutes, and we'll go through some great details on that. Let's now fast forward to the body section, where you'll find in front of and rear of the axle storage location for your wheel chocks. Just in front of the axle, you'll find a marker turn indicator light, and then also pan door, lift and turn latch gains you access into this space. This is for 2 SCBA bottle storage location. Directly over the axle, emergency warning light, and then to the rear of the axle, the fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel. As we move up to the very top rear portion of the body, you'll find a warning light, part of the upper zone. Quick look at the rear of the apparatus. We'll come back to this in just a few moments and cover that. Let's move around to the passenger side of the vehicle, and we'll start in with the body section. Same configuration and layout for the most part as you have on the driver and passenger side. I'd like to point out this warning placard indicating extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move now forward to the midsection, we'll come back to that in just a few moments in detail, and then on to the cab section. Same configuration and layout on this side also, except for the air inlet directly over the front axle. We're going to move into the driver's space, starting first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information. Just above that, you'll find the combination door lock and latch. The red is your lock. Moving to the left, you'll find your electric window control, and then also a grab handle. Let's go ahead and take a look into the space now, starting at the lower portion in the stepwell. This is an air inlet location. And then just up from that, at the base of the seat, is where you'll find, when plugged into Shoreline Power, your auto status system will indicate battery status. Close-up here of the air inlet, and then a close-up of the battery status. Let's move inside about the right ankle of the operator on the engine cowling. It's where you'll find this placard, yellow, indicating for date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type for your vehicle. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find foot pedals for the air horn and mechanical siren. About the left knee of the operator, this is going to be where you'll find the master battery switch, and then also J1939 diagnostic port above that. Further up, you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump, and then also on the opposite side, instructions from pump to road. Just as a reminder, when operating a pump, you need 2 green indicators, pump engage and OK to pump, illuminating these 2 indicators before exiting the cab. You'll also find the engine diagnostics and ABS diagnostics indicator. As we move to the left, you'll find your ignition and start switch and also a mirror heat. Moving to the steering wheel, you'll find in the center a push button for your horn. Let's move to the dash area, where you'll find on the left oil, pressure, water temperature, transmission temperature, volts. On the right, you'll find front air, rear air, def level, fuel. Located in the center, you'll find your tachometer on the left, speedometer on the right. As we look to the diagnostic tally lights, they're going to display above the tachometer and speedometer, in addition with additional information in tally light information in the very center section. Let's move just to the right of the driver's preview. We'll identify a few items, starting first in the upper left-hand corner with a switch panel, identifying your headlights, dimmer, which is your panel lights, wiper, wiper speed, DPF regen, and DPF regen inhibit. As we move down to the next set of switches, we'll find the engine brake on and off switch, settings for that engine brake for low, medium, and high, a red switch, which is the engage high idle, and an indicator OK to engage the high idle. And then to the right, you'll find your tire change, which are currently taped off. As we move just down from that location, you'll find the backup alarm, override, load manager, and indicators for that load manager. We do have some warnings here. Your vehicle is equipped with an airbag, so that's why we have a warning placard. Also, disengage the retarder when on wet or slippery surfaces. And do not engage the tire chains with over 25 miles an hour. Radio push to talk button located here, and also yellow diamond, which is your pull to apply your system parking brake, and push to release. These are the rear spring brakes. Allison transmission pad with a digital information note here that says pump in drive. On the right, you'll find a mirror controls for left and right. Also some switches for window control for driver and passenger, and rear driver and passenger. Below that, climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Let's look overhead of the driver's space. I'd like to point out the yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 3 inches, length of the vehicle, 33 feet 4 inches, gross vehicle weight rating, 45,500 pounds. Also some switches here for your emergency warning lights. They are individually labeled. Moving just to the right of this location, you'll find an additional switch panel. This is housing the high beam flash, the Opticom, which is located in the light bar, driver's flood, passenger flood, and rear scene. When any of these switches have been activated, the switch in itself will illuminate green, indicating the switch has been activated. As we look to the center, you'll find your seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green they're in the seat and belted. You'll also find do not move your apparatus light, indicating here that you may have a compartment or door open or ajar. Let's move to the center, where you'll find your siren control and PA system. It is in a swivel bracket. As we look to the rear, we have 2 forward-facing outer seats and 2 forward-facing inner seats, for a total of 4 rear seats. Also, when plugged into Shoreline Power, your battery charger will activate. This is the auto eject Shoreline inlet, 20 amp. Back down to the wheel, where you'll find Alcoa wheel, Goodyear tire. As we move down into the rear cab section, we'll identify a few items within this area, starting first with the door panel, where you'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information, also door lock and latch and window control. There are two compartments located here that have netting, one on the passenger and driver side. Also, as we look to the ceiling area, you'll find push on or off red or white lenses, fold-up seats across the rear back wall. As we move to those EMS compartments, you'll find compartment lighting switches at the very top, netting, and two adjustable shelves. As we look just to the right, you'll find an outlet here. This is when plugged into Shoreline Power, this outlet will be active. Also, at the rear, you'll find your daily checks access for oil and transmission, and then also 12-volt access via barrel style. As we move to the opposite side, once again, compartment lighting inside those EMS compartments. As we move under the seats, you'll find a drop-down door located here. This is part of the rear cab wall area. And then overhead, you'll find your David Clark headset intercom system. Let's go ahead and move back to the exterior, to the rear lower portion of the cab. This is the location of your DEF fill location. It is a 7.3 gallon, which is the blue cap. Just up from this location, you'll find a transverse compartment here for additional storage. And then also just to the right, you'll find a lift and turn latch located here. This is for storage in the step area in between the pump panel area. Let's take a look at the pump panel levers. We'll start first on the driver's side. Closest to the street is where you'll find your driver's side auxiliary inlet. Then there are also your Speedlay 1, rear driver's side discharge, number 3 driver's side discharge, and number 1 driver's side discharge. Also the tank fill on the far left. Identifying a few more things, this is your tank to pump and tank fill. As we move just to the lower portion, it's where you'll find the water tank level indicator. Also, your minimum operation maintenance schedule is located here. We'll come back to this and cover it in detail. Just up from that location is your deluge discharge, which is controlled by an electric valve, which is directly above that. As we move to the left, you'll find the reel discharge. And then let's move further to the left toward the passenger side, where you'll find your large diameter passenger side discharge. It is the green indicator here. You'll also find it's an electric valve. Number 4 and number 2 passenger side discharge, those are 2.5-inch discharges. And then also the passenger side auxiliary inlet. Moving over toward the street side, on the passenger side, you'll find engine information here. We have oil, water level, volts, and fuel. Also tally lights for stop engine, and check transmission. Engine cooler and recirculating line, those are twist not pull. And then moving further down, you'll find your primer. There are instructions for caution, at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. Also, you'll find the driver's main inlet electric valve. As we move to the left into the gray area, you'll find the master intake gauge and master discharge gauge. In between the two of these two gauges are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure, and they're currently plugged, and these are utilized for testing purposes. As we move down to the very bottom, you'll find a few switches with tally lights. First, we have a panel light. Also, as we move just to the right of this location, you'll find a OK to pump. That's if you've engaged your pump properly in the cab, this light should be illuminating. Passenger side floodlight and driver side floodlight. These are your pole lights on the side of the pump panel area. Front inlet, open and close. As we move toward the right, you'll find your pump boss. This is your pressure throttle governor. Please see the owner's manual for its operation. As we move down, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after you've received proper training. You'll also find this black audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate to increase or dampen sound. Passenger side inlet and front inlet, also electric valves located here. We do have our crosslays located in the front section, and we'll start in the upper section with a warning placard because of those crosslays, and also a warning placard here regarding when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Also, to ensure your front inlet swivel is facing forward before raising your cab, because the module below it is your cab lift. There are instructions for its operation on the placard. Additional warning here: never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. Always face the vehicle while climbing on or off. Warning placard here regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also a warning regarding entanglement hazard. Because the line's coming from the costlay, there is the possibility of entanglement. This is your inlet, and in that compartment there is where you'll find your relief valve for the inlet pressure. Watrous placard located in the lower section. As we move down, driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch female. And as we move across the bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's go back to the placards real quick, where you'll find your Watrous placard. The capacity of this pump is 1,500 GPM. To the right is the main pump drain, and then just below that you'll find your manual pump shift. A little more on that placard itself. Your pump model is a CSU, trans model is a C22D. As we move to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi, on the left is the GPM at that test pressure. On the right is the associated RPM at that test pressure. While conducting the pump test, your governed speed while in pump, 2050 RPMs. As we move to the lower section of the running board, you'll find the reel rewind foot pedal. We're now into the compartment space. Let's start at the very top section. Adjustable shelves. As we move into the overwheel compartment, you'll find 12-volt access in the upper left-hand corner, box light located on the right, 2 SCBA bottle storage location with retaining straps, and also the fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel, silver cap. Let's take a look in that upper vertical wall where you'll find 12-volt power, and then we'll take a look at the SCBA bottle storage location, and then back down to the axle where you'll find an Alcoa wheel and Michelin tire. Let's go back up to the fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel. This is the silver cap. It does have a cap holder located on the pan door itself, and then also information regarding ultra low sulfur diesel only. As we move to the rear compartment, adjustable shelving, LED lighting, and also dry deck material. Let's move from this location around to the very back. All compartments open on the side, but let's now move to the back section next. Starting first in the upper left-hand corner with emergency warning lights on both left and right side. Just down from that location, you'll find the rear scene lights. Just down from that, you'll find on the driver's side the license plate location. Under the license plate, you'll find a cupped switch for activation of the rear scene lights. Also, emergency brake turn indicator just inside that location. You'll also find we have two 2.5-inch discharges located here, and then also your backup lights in the lower portion. At the very top is where you'll find your backboard storage location, which is incorporated in the hose bed cover. To the right, you'll find your ground ladders and long-handled tool storage. Close-ups here, rear scene lights. This is the on-off switch. As we move just inside that location, I've got some warning placards here regarding warning entanglement hazard. Because of the lines coming from the hose bed, there's a possibility of entanglement. Also, because we have some discharges back here at the rear, we have some warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. As we move to the right, this is the passenger rear discharge. Once again, 2.5-inch. As we move, there are 3 hose bed dividers that are movable in the hose bed area. At the very top, backboard storage location. Then as we move all the way down to the very bottom at the tailboard area, you'll find an additional storage compartment in the lower section. Let's go back to the ladder storage where you'll find a 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof, 2 pike poles, and a 10-foot attic ladder folding. Moving now around to the passenger side of the vehicle, in the lower compartment, adjustable shelf, and on the rear wall, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style. Let's move forward to the over wheel compartment. And as we move into the portion to the rear of the axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles with retaining straps and also an oxygen bottle. Back down to the rear axle, Alcoa wheel and Michelin tire. I'd also like to point out extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regeneration. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle. Let's move forward to this location into the next compartment, where you'll find 2 SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps. In the lower section, you'll find an adjustable shelf. Let's go ahead and start now with the pump panel area. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner with this warning placard indicating fall entry. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. There are also in the pump panel some cutout areas with pan doors so you can access into the pump panel area for visual inspection. Also an additional warning placard here regarding fall hazard. Once again, when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. These are the two 2.5-inch discharges on the passenger side. I also have a warning placard here regarding pressure hazard because those caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Because you have electronic valves controlling the inlets, we do have overrides required. This is the override location. As we move down to the bottom, entanglement hazard, because the line's coming from the crosslay, there's the possibility of entanglement. All the way across the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. And then also in the lower section, we also have a visual inspection area also and a warning: only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. That's only after proper training. Also, just below this was the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. Underneath the running board, you'll find the front inlet drain and then also a reel rewind. Moving now to the running board, where you'll find a cutout here for hose storage with Velcro tie downs. Also, you'll find a passenger side auxiliary inlet drain. And then as we look through the walk area, you'll find additional storage once again on the passenger and driver's side. Now to the rear cab, where you'll find the lower compartment that is transverse. As we move into the rear portion of the apparatus, the rear cab, you'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information, electric window control, door lock and latch. Looking inside now, just a different perspective, 2 EMS rear-facing compartments. Also, fold-down seats across the rear. There are 4 rear forward-facing seats. We're now just behind the officer seat, which is the air inlet for your engine. And then back to the front axle, where you'll find Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge. Let's move into the officer space next, where you'll find affixed to that door panel safety and warning placard information, combination door lock and latch, electric window control, and a grab handle. Just underneath the front step is where you'll find the front inlet drain. And as we move inside the stepwell area, you'll find a box light in the pan door here. D handle gains you access. Also at the floor level, air horn and mechanical siren foot pedals. Just under the officer seat, we have an additional storage location. Back up to the dash on the left of the officer area, you'll find a push button for the rumbler. Also radio push to talk button. To the right, 12-volt access via barrel style. There are 2 located here. And then just forward of this location is the vehicle data recording port. Let's go ahead and look overhead of the officer's space, where you'll find some switch panels. Let's start first with the switch panel on the far outside edge. These are the 2 red switches for your rumbler and siren brake. Also some future switch locations. You will find these red and white warning placards indicating do not remove. There is spare wiring behind the panel. It is identified by the option number and the wire type. Please don't remove these until your maintenance team has had an opportunity to review. All compartment doors open on the passenger side. Let's move up onto the top of the roof area, where you'll find your little giant ladder and a storage location. Also, you'll find this is a non-walking surface, and we do have some warning placards indicating that it is a non-walking surface. As we look to the little giant, there are also Velcro straps here for securing the ladder itself. And as we move now to the midsection, where you'll find your master stream device, there is also an extended gun located with it. On the outer edge, you'll find your pole lights, one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. Booster wheel located here for retention spool, and also manual rewind on that booster line. As we move to the dunnage area, this is the diamond plated area that's closed. It's currently open, and we're showing that you can have access into this space. With it closed, you also have top access into the water tank area. There are 3 hose bed dividers which are adjustable. When your hose bed cover is closed, there is yellow diamonds for protecting the walking surface for firefighter safety. The next set of images is that of the cab tilted with the chassis we'll identify a few items within this area. First, let's start. These are operational for 6,000-pound direct pull. They're the open-ended tow hook. In the lower portion, these are the physical tow hooks for towing the vehicle. As we move down, just a couple of reminders as we're moving through this. When you are tilting your cab, make sure that you activate the tilt to its full upright position with both equal pressure on right and left cylinder. Once the cab is fully upright, please place the safety bar into position located here in the picture. Do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure on both left and right cylinders. As we move to the engine area, we'll identify a few things. Forward is where you'll find your radiator. There is a fill and sight gauge located in the front section. As we move toward the rear, you'll find your power steering fluid. There is also a sight gauge and fill location. Engine oil dipstick is the yellow. As we move to the right, you'll find your red or orange color. This is the transmission dipstick. Moving now along the driver's side frame rail, on the bottom of the battery box is where you'll find the negative and positive jumper studs. As we move toward the rear of the apparatus, you'll find additional tow locations here, one on each side of the frame rail, and then also a tow bar located directly at the rear portion just under the tailboard. There'll be no additional audio from this point on as we move through the rest of the chassis photos. Congratulations, Boise City, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38139. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.